There were so many times I just wanted nothing else but to just sleep. And I pushed through and got there one step at a time. It is 2:02 a.m. on January 20th, 2018.
I meant 2019.
And this is going to be Reflections 28. And quickly, first of all, why the fuck am I up so late? It's still Saturday as I'm recording this. This is usually a Sunday thing that I record in. But here's the reality. My day has gone so weird. I finished lists last night, so now my day has been like resetting and recharging. So I'm like, fuck it. I'd rather tomorrow just be a more progress orientated day, and today be the more like reflective type of thing. So I'm just gonna close out with the reflections real quick. But and yeah, I also just drank a lot of coffee actually. So I might just pull an all-nighter. Who fucking knows? We'll see what goes on. But yeah, reflections. It is a weekly thing I do on Sundays where I sit down. First, I do a doc. I quickly go through all of my week, my thoughts, what worked, what didn't, lessons, my takeaways, etc. Just I reflect on my week. Then I come on camera and I take the highlights and plug it in for you to see or hear and hopefully extract some on your own. It's also a great way to reset so I can so for tomorrow I'll feel like nice and reset, and it's like that fresh feeling going forward. And I also love the fact that I can look back on any given week and see what was going on in my life. So love that. Anyways, let's get right into it. What's been on my mind? Excitement for how much list is going to help me. This helped me so much during this like rocky period of the last week, and really focusing on that and keeping myself aligned with the reasons why I must build it has really helped me, and focusing on all the use cases and how much value and benefit it's going to bring me really kept me going through that dark period. It was a fucking roller coaster and a half. Feeling very behind and very stressed out because lists just kept taking longer than I was expecting, and I have a ton of other projects that I need to be working on, specifically Moxey energetics, which is the most important. And I just feel like I was letting mom down, especially because I wasn't working on it, and that was really, really hard for me. And also kind of related. So like every time I was pushing lists back, I was pushing other projects back as well. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so behind on content as well. So there was just like a lot of stress of being behind, and I don't like that at all. There's also been a lot of questioning and doubt of, for one, future. I've just been like questioning a lot of things, and also questioning and kind of like wondering, is this are all these things that I'm working on for nothing? Are they going to pan out someday? And it's just like a lot of questioning if I'm actually doing the right thing. And there's just like a lot of random projects that I just wonder if they're ever going to have the purpose that I think they're going to, but they might not. So that is quite a possibility. And that's tough to think about, but I just don't want to look back and regret how I spent my early 20s. It's just really fucking important to me that I spend them in very, what is the word? Purposeful and useful ways, and making sure I get a nice ROI out of my 20s. And also there's just a lot of uncertainty going forward that I need to deal with, and it's been in my mind a lot. What were my favorite wins? Ladies and gentlemen, I fucking did it. List MVP, the private beta is live. So that feels fucking incredible. I've been really focused on the excitement it's going to bring me, or not the excitement it's going to bring me, the benefit it's going to bring me, and the value it's going to bring me, and all the use cases I will be using it for. And it's been something I've been waiting for. I've wanted something like this since I've been 16 type of thing. So I'm very excited. I tried to do it with Internalize. it got close, but I just think that List is that it has those upgrades that Internalize didn't have, and I'm super grateful that I have something that I can use. I don't give a fuck if anyone else uses it. I'm going to use it, and it's going to be a very crucial competitive advantage to anyone competing against me. So with that being said, I worked on a whole types of fucking, like, there were just so many bugs and like little features that I worked on. It was insane. But specifically, I loved the feeling of uploading an image to the server for the first time so there's like the testing and the development server, but then there's the actually using it on list.infinity.co, and uploading an image on there was like really special, and starting to create my first list ever there was just like, it was just a really cool feeling using it in that way. Because it's one thing to use like test data and mock data, but when you actually start to use the real production code, and use the real app, it was just like so cool. And it's a web app, by the way. It's not an actual app, but it was just fucking a great feeling. I also liked doing the event logging. That was a cool win as well. But yeah, just all sorts of types of things. I'm just looking at like all the validation stuff, all these bug fixes, prevention of certain views, security things, just like last minute stuff, updating of certain styles, all types of things. Yeah. So, and like also all the pre-production stuff. So like making sure everything's working to get it up on the server, and that worked, thankfully. But yeah, it's live, it's working, and I'm fucking excited about it. It's been a fucking long time coming, Jesus. Just looking at these wins, if I didn't say this already, almost my entire fucking week was just spent on fixing bugs and small little tweaks here and there to make everything work properly, because there were so many bugs. It was ridiculous. I'll also throw out another win of no caffeine for 2 days. That was good, and might talk about that later. And I also did a no phone from Saturday to earlier today. So that's been a full week. And that was because I chose to zero down on lists, and I told myself I can go back on my phone as soon as lists has a private beta live, and that is the case now. So I can go on my phone again. What worked? Writing things down in Apple Notes when I come across it. So when I was coding in lists, for example, there was like things that would pop in my brain, or that I would see a bug, or I'd encounter an error or what have you. And I'd immediately, 99% of the time, I'd write it down in Apple Notes, and I just kept an ongoing list of all of these fucking bugs or to-dos or things to think about or what have you. And I would revisit the list quite frequently and just keep updating and like check things off, delete things if need be, all that type of stuff. And even like non-coding stuff, like anything that was popping in my brain that was like, okay, I want to tell Brian about this, or tell Q about XYZ thing that made me laugh. Like just random things, especially because I wasn't on my phone. So I was like, okay, let's tell them these things when I'm back on my phone, type of thing. So that was super helpful, and it's such an important thing to just get it. I think it's a getting things done principle. I've never read any of that stuff or engaged in any of that material, but I think that's a concept of just getting it down so your brain can go back to whatever you're doing. So being without a phone for so long, it did at times, I could feel very disconnected, and like you can get pretty borderline crazy without humans for so long. So having things like movies and dubstep and even like working out were just really helpful in keeping me sane. And in addition to that, also just like keeping up fitness, even though I didn't want to, I just wanted to focus on getting lists out because it was stressing me the fuck out. But I kept it up. I'm glad I did. I also am glad I did 2 abs, because I almost decided to rationalize why I shouldn't do the second abs, and it was just like, it's just bullshit. So I ended up doing the abs, and I'm glad I did. I loved listening to the amount of podcasts I did. That was really helpful. I learned a fucking ton. Specifically, my podcast of choice this week was Tim Ferriss. It's Tim Ferriss show. And my favorite podcast was easily the Essentialism podcast with what's his name? Greg. I'm gonna botch this. Greg McEwen, something like that. Anyways, that was a really, really good episode. I really highly recommend that because essentialism is just something that vibes a lot with me, and that was my intro to essentialism. And it sounds like just something that I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with this. Anyways, it vibes with me. I liked it, and it's something that I would consider really implementing in my life going forward because it sounds like a better version of minimalism for me. Because I like minimalism, and at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to be minimalistic in every sense. But essentialism sounds a lot better for me, specifically. Keeping the benefits top of mind of lists and what will occur upon completion of lists. That really kept me going through these dark times I had the past few days. It sounds like so bad. It actually was quite bad. I was like, it was just so rough at times. I just put myself through mental hell, which is not an ideal way of doing things. But honestly, I just fucked up with my expectations and the way I was playing the game, and it just ended up with a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of negative emotions that occurred. But keeping the benefits and like all of the things that are going to be helped and all of the value that list is going to bring me when it's completed really pushed me through and allowed me to persevere. And it allowed me to persevere throughout this entire time because list has been in development for such a long time. Since late 2017, actually, if I recall correctly. So this has been a long time thing. It's just been like me hacking at it for over time. But that has really helped me keep the momentum going and keep at it for all this time. What didn't work and how can I improve it? Getting super caught up in the day-to-day of things and forgetting the macro thing. And I would catch myself being like, oh, if it's not getting done today, it's the end of the world, basically, without actually thinking that. But that was like the feeling. It's just such a devastating thing that list was not being launched today. That was like a pattern throughout the whole week, basically. And it just like took such a fucking toll on me. And it's just so much better if I remind myself that, okay, would it have been better if I launched today? Yes. But is it the end of the world? No. So things go back another day. Oh well, like I could be fucking dead. I could be a prisoner of war. It's just like a lack of perspective. And in times like that, I do require improving my perspective so I can handle things better. I can be more grounded and persist in a much easier fashion. Too much coffee. This is really affecting things right now in a negative manner. It's affecting my sleep. I'm not getting a good enough sleep. I am having way too much coffee in a day. When I drink coffee, I'm not even getting the same effects that I normally would. It's like, I actually sometimes just could sleep after coffee. It's crazy. So it's affecting my sleep. I'm more tired in the day, which makes me more inclined to drink more coffee. I went 2 days, by the way, without caffeine, and then I had coffee today for the first time, and it was like my brain was fucking exploding. I'm like, Jesus, this is what I'm so used to not feeling, because I'm just so used to being in a caffeinated state that it's become something I'm so used to, and it's like almost disturbing how unaware we can get when we're in this behavior of caffeine all the time. And it's something worth reducing, I think, in the future, because it's really just hijacks my brain. It's fucking crazy. Waking up so fucking late. Jesus, man. I was going to bed so late and waking up so late this week. And then it was killing my productivity when I was waking up because I just felt like I was behind and my moods were just off in the morning. I don't know what was going on. It was very strange. I love mornings. Mornings this week were not good. It was very like uphill, and not like they usually are, which is like a very blissful and enjoyable time, and I usually get a shit ton done and I'm very focused. This week was like none of the above. Basically, it was rough. First of all, I just had deja vu. Second of all, not working on anything Moxey energetics other than meetings and checking my Trello board. Yeah, it is. I feel like such a fucking, I just feel like such a fucking bullshitter right now with the word entrepreneur. I am shitting the bed completely in that aspect, and it's quite embarrassing. I need to get my shit together badly. I need to really find out if I have this thing that I have, if I am an entrepreneur or not. And I've got to figure that out quickly. And if not, I better fucking get a job, because I have to make some sort of money and I can't just continue like this. It's just very, it's very problematic right now. So, but it's going to grow. It's going to help me grow a lot throughout this period. But yeah, I just really have to stop fucking thinking about it, stop talking about it, and just do the things that I know I should be doing. Reach out to those people, DM people, join the groups, network, get familiar with pitching, become very good at pitching, and sales and all that jazz. Define my, all this stuff that I just know I should be doing, but I'm procrastinating on. And yeah, I think lists will help me stop this though, and I say stop this, meaning the procrastination, based on me getting clear on my whys and reminding myself of it and having my vision board accordingly and all that stuff. Just like keeping my mindset in check through the tool of lists, because it's basically an influence tool. That's essentially what it is for me, is a positive influence tool. What were my biggest lessons? Breaking agreements is fucking exhausting. So basically what happened is each day I'd finish out my day and I'd be like, okay, tomorrow, I'm so close on lists, I can finish this tomorrow. And then tomorrow would come and I'd be like, oh my God, I have all of these new bugs, shit. And I'd be like, okay, tomorrow. And it would just be like this sucking of energy because I broke my agreement. I didn't do a good enough job of setting time. I was very poor at evaluating the future timelines. I'm so bad at predicting how long tasks are going to take in the future. And this was very evident this week with all of the the agreements that I broke this week. So I just realized how exhausting that was, because I broke that. I did that cycle of, tomorrow, and then I failed, and then I kept doing that every day for 6 days in a row or something like that. And it just sucks so much energy out of you when you lie to yourself, quote unquote, because that is you lying to yourself. You're saying one thing and then you don't follow through. You're trying to follow through, but if you still aren't, you're still not following through, and you're still communicating to your brain that you're a liar, and that feels fucking awful. And especially for someone that values their follow through a lot like I do, I have just got to get better at the short term follow through. I'm good at long term follow through. But I still have so much work to do on that short term. And the whole point of this though is how tiring how tiring it is after you break agreements. And especially if you gain a cycle of breaking agreements, that is, yeah, I was probably the most tired I've been this week, as I could not tell you a time I'd been more tired. I was just so fucking exhausted. And I've said that so many times in the past minute and a half, but whatever. It's fucking true. I've known this for a while, but I realized this week that I have still a lot to go on my salesmanship, because I was just paying attention to, for me at least, trying to sell lists, even just casually. And I still am way too focused on the features, and that's not a good way to sell, and not focused enough on the benefits. And I have much to work on that. And I've got to focus on learning what the hot buttons are and understanding what people want, as well as learning to tell stories properly and using examples and really focusing on those type of things. Because as soon as you start focusing on features, like I'm not going to sell lists by saying, oh, it holds text and images and it shuffles. Like it's just, you need the stories, you need the use cases, and you need to be able to insert themselves into those stories and use cases and imagine it and get a feeling from it. At least that's my current take on it. And yeah, I just have a lot of work to go in the sales department, and I hope to get better in the future. And I feel like there's this type of negative connotation with sales. The reality is you're helping someone solve a fucking problem. I have zero intention in trying to, or zero desire to try to sit there and help someone that doesn't need their problem solved. I just want to help the person who has a problem that I know I can help solve. That's it. It's super worth hacking at things over the long haul, because something like lists, it started in 2017 and I've just been like casually working at it here and there, on and off, for all this time. And now it's here and it's not here because of magic. It's not here because I wished for it. It's because I consciously small chunked things over time. I took it one task at a time and consistently, but over time, added, improved. And guess what? It's fucking here now. It's very imperfect still, but the reality is it is usable. It's solving my problem. And I'm very grateful for the fact that even these like small side projects can come to life with enough time and attention over time. So it's worth taking that time to invest into whatever that desire is that you have, that you know is going to take some time, but it's still worth it enough to you. Follow through with that fucker. Okay? It's worth it. You have enough fucking time. We all do. I was reminded today that even as much as I would love to be important to the world, and I plan on being incredibly impactful and hopefully very legendary in this world, but at the same time, when I'm gone, when I die, I'm going to be forgotten very quickly by almost everyone, and people are going to move on, and yeah. And it's not a bad thing. It just, people are busy with their lives. And when I go on these no phone breaks, I'm reminded of this. Like, we're so insignificant. It's crazy. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. So that's been on my mind as well. I'm just reminded of that. And with that, it's very easy to remind myself to just live life the way I desire. Go for the things I desire. Shoot for my fucking dreams, as cliche as that is. But yeah, like people's judgments don't matter. My fuck ups don't matter. My wins don't really matter. Nothing really matters. So just go do shit. Period. I realized this week that the universe is actually helping me code. Like when I'm debugging stuff, I'll like randomly have thoughts in my brain that I was not thinking about, but it just popped in my brain because it's a vibrational match to the solution I'm looking for. And it'll be the universe fucking guiding me in the right direction of what the cause is of the bug. And it's the fucking craziest shit. And I love it so much. It's always cool to watch how the universe is helping me in code. It's the coolest shit. As I've been thinking about this week a lot about AI and the future of things and the future of humanity and like Mars and like all these things, as I'm reading Elon's book, listening to the podcast he did with Joe Rogan, etc., I'm just reminded that the only thing that really matters as far as I can see is raising human consciousness, raising collective consciousness, raising the earth's consciousness. And something along the lines of using something like Dr. Hawkins' 0 to 1,000 scale for measuring this type of thing is what matters to me. And all else basically seems meaningless as far as I can see, because it's at a very low level right now. And that's why we see such chaos in the world. And until we fix that at a foundational level, we're just going to keep repeating the exact same patterns and nothing's going to fucking change. But people can't see that because they're way too in ego. And I have empathy for that because many times they don't know any better. But, yeah, it is, I would love if by the time I am done on this earth, I can play a big part in raising that collective consciousness. What challenges did I experience? Poor timeline resetting. I am very bad at resetting timelines in a correct manner, and even just setting timelines in general. I'm just very, very poor at projecting future tasks and how long they're going to take and time management and that type of stuff. I'm just very bad at it. So that was definitely a challenge that occurred this week, and it resulted in me going through this like crazy up and down, and it was a hell of a roller coaster during that time because I was like, lists should have been out Monday, and this leads me into another challenge as well, which is like, I was just like questioning. I'm like, first of all, every time I was pushing that back that day, I was like, it was taking away from another day. I think I talked about this earlier in the episode, but every time I was pushing lists back, I was pushing my other projects back a day, and I was just already so behind on the other things. And I'm like, I was just a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress, and then a lot of thoughts like, what the fuck am I doing with my life right now? And just a lot of questioning myself, my future, insecurity around all types of areas. And yeah, it was just like, there was a lot of questioning, a lot of doubt, a lot of unsureness. Yeah. And that is to be expected sometimes, but it is best solved by just working. Insecurity around my MVP for list, and MVP meaning minimal viable product, which is like the first thing you launch essentially, which is, it solves the problem, but it still is missing a ton. And it's probably buggy, though I think I did a good job of getting rid of bugs. But anyways, I always feel like, and that's a good start right there. I can see the pattern right there, saying always with it, but I never feel like I'm solving the challenge good enough with these MVPs, and I don't feel like it's good enough, the product as a whole. I always want to build more things. I feel like it's way too simple and it took way too much time to build such a simple thing, but I forget that like there's so much more that's going into that my brain could even forget about. Stuff like that. So there was a lot of resistance around that, and again, this fucking journey this week was just, it was rocky to say the least, and I'm glad it's much better now, and I'm feeling way better about the present day lists and stuff like that. But fuck, that was rough. I was nervous on camera, and I have been recently. Like since that reflections video, I've actually for some reason been nervous on camera. I'm feeling pretty good right now, but there's times when I catch myself feeling quite nervous on camera, and it's mostly because I start to think about too many people watching. And if they are or what have you, but just like, yeah, it just kicks in a little bit of fear because it's like talking to a crowd I'm scared shitless of. So that is part of it. Another part of it is I can subconsciously start to think about things as an authority, and I feel like I have to be an authority, which is not at all what I'm trying to be. I'm just trying to be an authority on my reality. This is just my experience. This is just my journey, okay? And I'm just documenting, and like hopefully a lot of this turns out to be correct, and if it doesn't, oh well. But that's the point of documenting. It's just getting it on film, getting it on audio, and locking it into history so you can come back and check if I was historically correct, watch how things age, watch my journey, watch my process, watch how I grew, etc. And I can sometimes forget that subconsciously, and then I start to like try to be something, and it's just, that's problematic. And I try not to do that, but sometimes it does subconsciously slip in. Where did I grow the most? All of the doubt and resistance with with lists, it was really rocky. It was really rocky, but thankfully, just powering through with my why, with NIMSAM sessions, with what else did I do? Just, hacking at things slowly but surely. And eventually I got through, but there were so many times I just wanted nothing else but to just sleep. And I pushed through and got there one step at a time. It's always a step, one step at a time. I think we can often forget that. Even at big things, they're just achieved by going one foot in front of the other, even if you can't see where the fuck you're going. It's just very helpful to remind yourself that it just does. Big things do happen one stone at a time, one step at a time, one block at a time, etc. Yeah. What am I obsessed with right now? Mochachinos / cafe mocha, whatever they're called. Hot chocolate with coffee is what I'm going after right here. So a little bit of milk, a tiny bit of sugar, some hot chocolate mix, a tablespoon, actually more than a tablespoon, and then a tablespoon of cocoa, and then a tablespoon and a half of coffee grinds for a French press, typically. And that is such a delicious coffee. I could drink it all fucking day, but I can't or else I would explode. So that's been my obsession right now, even though coffee is my enemy, and at the same time I love it so much because it's so fun, it's so nice, and at the same time it's barely even working for me right now. Or I lack the sensitivity to it because I'm so used to it. So that's why coffee's problematic and I need to figure something out. Probably had to reduce it, but these things are fucking delicious nonetheless. Space laces and this type of sound that's bouncy in dubstep. Ivory's recent song with Samplifier, and it's called, what is it called? Hustlers by Ivory and Samplifier. This song is incredible. I love this waveform that's I forget how Brian drew it. He drew it out for me, something like that. But the reverse probably like this or whatever. But it's this bouncy dubstep, and Space Laces has this signature sound with that. I love it so much, and I'm hearing it in E-Craze as well. I'm just obsessed with this dubstep sound. I realized this week that this is my favorite sound currently of all sounds. So loving all songs like that. I cannot wait until that fucking Space Laces ID comes out from Never Say Die Volume 6, Track 3. The drop of Track 3. I just cannot fucking wait for that. Alright, that is episode 28 in the books. We're getting there. I'm enjoying the upward progress of this and watching myself play with the sections and hopefully bring you more value each time in the process of me documenting my journey. So yeah, if you did find enough value in this, whether it's entertainment or motivation, inspiration, education, what have you, whatever form of value you found, if you did find any, do me a favor, leave a like, a comment. I love the comments, by the way. I would love to hear more comments, and let me know what your favorite part of the episode was. A rating if you felt it was worth a 1-star or a 5-star, what have you. It's up to you what you feel it was worth. Share with a friend. This is the most disorganized fucking closing I've ever had. So yeah, share it with a friend, and if you choose to follow along with my journey, that would be incredible as well. And yeah. Anyways, I will catch you next week for Reflections 29, and yeah, I hope you have a kick-ass week, and I will as well. And as always, my name is Josh Moxey, and I will catch you later. Why Why is this thing fucking moving so much? I don't get it.